Among the many matters the war with Iran has complicated, negotiating the safe return of at least 6 Americans currently being detained there. Securing the freedom of even one person held hostage overseas is a difficult enough task, as Erin Moriarty discovered.
Did you realize you had that in you, that you would be able to fight for somebody as hard as you did for your sister?
No, I was so naive. When she was kidnapped, I had no idea what it would take.
On March 21st, 2023, Emma Tsurkov's sister Elizabeth, a 36-year-old Princeton University graduate student, was kidnapped in Iraq. She was doing fieldwork for her PhD in political science, something she had done safely several times before.
She doesn't just sit in some ivy tower reading books about Iraq. She believes in going and talking to Iraqis. It is part of the program's requirements that you do research in the field outside of the U.S.
Elizabeth Tsurkov was grabbed off the street and held for ransom by members of Kataib Hezbollah, a terrorist organization based in Iraq and funded by Iran. What authorities do you call?
It's a very good question because I had no idea. At that point, I was, just a nobody living my life quietly in California.
Emma, who got her PhD at Stanford and is married to an American, first reached out to Russian authorities for help. The two sisters, children of Soviet dissidents, were born in Russia, and Elizabeth held both Russian and Israeli passports.
We are standing here in front of the Russian embassy in Tel Aviv, protesting against Russian war crimes in Syria.
But Emma says the Russian government showed no interest in rescuing her sister.
They told me that they have read her opinions online. She's a human rights activist, so she has never found a power structure she did not want to criticize.
The Israeli government stepped up and seemed to be making some progress, says Emma, until October 7th of that year, when Hamas launched the deadly attack on Israel. And suddenly, another 250 hostages took over the headlines. As Israel struck back with the relentless bombing of Gaza, Emma feared her sister's captors might seek revenge with her life.
I would go to sleep every night. I would attempt to sleep every night and check my phone. Let there not be a picture of her dead body. Let there not be a video of a beheading.
At that point, Elizabeth Tsurkov had been missing for 7 months.
But then I realized I have to be that responsible adult. There's no one else. If I'm not willing to see her die in captivity, and I'm not, then I have no choice but to put my big girl pants on and just go into the world and fight for her.
And then, the first clue, this video was released on the internet. It was Elizabeth. Proves she was alive, says Emma, but clearly under duress and in pain.
Obviously, she didn't say explicitly that she was being tortured, but to me, it was as clear as if she would have said explicitly. More importantly, she looked terrified. Terrified. I've never seen her so scared in my life.
My name is Emma Tsurkov, and I'm Elizabeth's sister.
Emma, in late 2023 and into the next year, continued to lobby State Department officials in the Biden administration to pressure the Iraqi government, heavily dependent on U.S. aid, to find Elizabeth and negotiate for her release.
Some of your viewers might think, oh, why should the U.S. government care about this person? First of all, she was in Iraq doing research for an elite American institution as it funded her research. So my sister is an expert on Iraq and Syria. And the U.S. government has benefited from her expertise. She had briefed members of Congress.
But she says few in the State Department would meet with her or even take her calls.
I would often hear, we feel for you. This is terrible. We know your sister. She is so brilliant. We really hope that she comes out of captivity. But what do you mean, we hope? Don't hope. Help.
Shame on you! Let my sister go!
Fighting for her sister, Emma says, brought out a fearlessness she didn't even know she had. In April 2024, when the Iraqi prime minister came to Washington, so did Emma.
Shame on you, Shugani! Shame! Shame! Let my sister go!
I realized that he's not going to get enough pressure from the administration directly. And I knew that I need to try and generate attention around my sister's captivity. I decided it's time for some guerrilla tactics.
Emma and friends projected laser messages on the Willard Hotel where the Iraqi delegation was staying. And when the Iraqi prime minister attended an event, Emma was in the back row.
My sister's been held hostage for 13 months, and you don't care!
I gave him a piece of my mind.
And you should be ashamed of yourself that you're not doing anything to help her and save her. She's innocent, and you know it.
It was just 13 months of pent-up frustration and anger and uncertainty. He didn't want to hear it, and now I'm going to force him to.
But where'd you find the nerve to do that?
If my sister dies in captivity, am I going to tell myself, oh, but I was polite?
And yet, her sister remained in captivity. In November 2024, after President Trump's reelection, she reached out to the new special advisor for hostage response, Adam Bowler, who lives in Nashville, where he runs a healthcare investment firm.
In a very roundabout way, I got his personal phone number.
I think she was surprised that I picked up, and then I think she didn't know what to do.
I must have had a panic attack during that phone call because I was talking at 150 miles per hour. I think the desperation I projected touched him.
Bowler promised to help, but when more months passed, Emma took another audacious step and flew to Nashville.
I show up in his house with this huge bush of pink hydrangeas, and I realized I invited myself to their Mother's Day brunch.
It doesn't sound like you regret crashing Adam Bowler's Mother's Day event.
I apologize for the rudeness of it, but, I mean, it got my sister home.
Elizabeth, how are you?
On September 9th, 2025, 903 days after her sister was kidnapped, Bowler called to say that Elizabeth was finally in the hands of U.S. officials.
He was like, Emma, we have Elizabeth on the line. Elizabeth, can you hear us? The first word she said was FIFA. It's our nickname for each other. She was like, FIFA? And we're screaming at each other, FIFA, 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 FIFA.
We're just crying hysterically and just full of joy. It was just like such an amazing, joyful moment.
Bowler wouldn't say what finally convinced the militia to let her go, only that he and others made it clear to the Iraqi government that Elizabeth was a priority.
Whether people are critical of the president or not, everybody can agree, I think. The president is not afraid to take action.
So nothing was traded
No.
for Elizabeth?
No.
But Elizabeth did pay a steep price with her health, as her sister feared when her captors realized that Elizabeth was Israeli. She was tortured and falsely accused of being a spy.
It's called the Scorpion in Iraq. They would handcuff me behind my back, and they basically put a hook in the handcuffs and raise me.
She is still in such pain that when she was ready to talk publicly, she was unable to sit in a chair for an interview. Is this really the only way you can even be comfortable sitting down?
It is, basically, or lying down.
How did you keep from passing out?
Oh, I did pass out. When the pain becomes so intense, it's actually a blessing, to pass out. But then they would wake me up, they would pour water on me and resume the torture. It is utterly horrific. You're in a state of terror.
I'm here with my chicken noodle soup for my soul. Finally reunited.
But that wasn't the only reunion that was healing for Elizabeth. Earlier this year,
Drum roll.
she got to meet the man who helped get her home.
It was one of the most emotionally intense experiences of my life. I cried basically for 2 hours, like without interruption, pretty much. It's amazing to see you in person. It's hard to explain how you look at a person who gave you life, but he's not your parent, you know? Thank you.
Elizabeth said that you changed her life. She changed yours too, didn't she?
Of course. When I came in to see her, I've never experienced something like that. I don't always get that time with people that we rescue.
Bowler keeps a permanent record of the number of hostages, that includes the Israelis held by Hamas, that he says have been released in the past year.
It matters a lot to me. I think of each one. It's funny, when I was with Elizabeth, she said, "Which one am I?"
Which one is she?
She could be, I said, "Which one do you want to be?" I think she was like there, she said.
Today, Elizabeth is doing rehab for her injuries and plans to return to her studies at Princeton. She believes her work is more important than ever.
So many of the policies of the United States and Israel and other countries are based on a faulty understanding of reality on the ground. I don't expect, to change the world through my research, but if I can even alter policy in a small way, that would benefit millions of people. I was deprived of my voice for 903 days. Now free, I can speak up.